Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Talking Real Estate with Champions Real Estate Team, or Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. My name is Mark Wehner II, team leader here. And joining me today is Russ Williams with Williams Mortgage. So we've been doing this 5 years now, I think, as of when COVID was going on. So I get the little Facebook things of notices. Oh, 5 years ago, you were doing a video. So anyways, but yeah, we jump on here every Wednesday. And give you a rundown what's going on in the real estate market over the last 7 days, where it's been, where it's at, where it's going. I'd like to start out with a little quick tip. So sorry, my daughter's here, so which is all good. But anyways, but our quick tip today is just kind of general maintenance around your house. Hey, Olivia, please. The general quick tip today is basically just going around your house and just checking on the things you don't usually check on. So what that means is, getting underneath the sink, feeling if there's any, any drips or anything like that, run the water for a little bit, see if there's any leaks. Maybe there's sinks that you don't use all that often in your house. Those seals can maybe get dried out over time if you haven't used them for an extended period of time. Flushing the toilets a couple times, feeling around, maybe if you even have a moisture sensor. I know I have one just so, you can check and see if any of those things around there have any moisture content in them. Just that preventative maintenance and preventative disasters. I know last year, probably, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, basically our laundry sink basically leaked, didn't know anything about it. House is only 6 years old. You wouldn't think anything of it. And the faucet or whatever had just a steady leak. And I think it ended up filling up the base, and then that something gave way and it kind of went down in our base. Luckily, our basement was unfinished. But those things that, even if you have a newer home, you never know when something wasn't tight enough when they built it, or all those things are loosened over time, or you knocked it with a towel, putting things underneath the sink, or your kids get in there and play like my kids. I'm like, hey, get out of there, But so those little things, just that preventative maintenance, routine checkups, maybe every couple months, every quarter, every twice a year or something like that, just to make sure that those things are in check. So that's kind of our quick tip. Nothing too crazy, kind of a boring one, but it's one of those things that could save you, a lot of pain and anguish of, mopping up wet floors. And, luckily our basement's unfinished, so it just went down on the concrete, and no harm, no foul in that regards. But, and just all the kids' toys down there, so those are all pretty resilient. So, anyways, let's jump into what's gone on the real estate market over the last 7 days. Kind of same song, same dance, as last week. So basically, we're very similar in numbers go. Over 764 new listings went live in the last 7 days, 487 new contracts written. That's about par. I think last week was 725, and we had about what was it, 40, or actually we had 500, pending. So just a little under what we had last week. Sold homes are about the same there. So, market's still very active. The biggest thing I see, that what I'm seeing in the marketplace just with my buyers, even sellers, is just making sure that house is priced right. I feel like some of the sellers out there feel that, it's still a huge seller's market, and they can, price it high. And, but right now we're seeing home inspections get negotiated in, seller concessions as far as closing costs or things like that, that are being part of that deal. So, if that house is, brand new to the market, updated, cleaned, all that fun stuff, you price it right. Yes, you may get one or two offers and you have that thing, but we're not getting the 5, 10, 15, 20 offers on houses that much anymore. And so I think sellers need to recognize that and price it appropriately so that you can maybe get a multiple offer situation. But if not, you're going to get a buyer that's ready, willing, and able, because a lot of those buyers right now, interest rates are steady, that 6.5%, 7%, nothing too crazy. And I think buyers are realistic on what rates are going to do. And so they're ready to go out there and get a house at a fair price. They've gone through the trials and tribulations of multiple offers and all that stuff. Not right now, honey. Not right now. So as we look through that, so let's look at the 30,000-foot view. As we go through here, stop sharing this one. Maybe. There we go. That one doesn't work, honey. I can't blow this one up, remember, because it's got the thingy on it. So yeah, that one doesn't work. So the day in the life of a dad with 4-year-olds that wants to blow up balloons, but it's got all the confetti stuff in it, and you can't do it unless I got the pump. So anyways, 30,000-foot view. It's a little sidetrack here, sidebar of blowing up balloons. So it's a little quick tip. You can't really start to blow up balloons with all that confetti stuff in it unless you got the actual air pump thing. So anyways, 3,800 square feet, 3,800 homes on active in the Omaha and MLS, Omaha and Lincoln MLS. That's up from about 37 last week. So we're 2217, 1316 on existing homes, and 900 new construction houses on the market, 2.7 months supply of inventory. So we're kind of almost in that neutral market. So I think depending on what segment of what price point you're in, that month of inventory is going to be, I think, okay. Yes, I will. Just a second. Yes. Okay. Okay. And then average sold price is at 355. So let's jump in here with Russ and see what's going on in the mortgage industry here. So,
Hey, everybody. Mark, we're continuing to see interest rates kind of trade sideways. And this is by and large been because we're seeing economic data continue to just kind of move sideways. I know that the president has been putting pressure on the Federal Reserve to try to get the short-term rates down, which could be helpful to us. That hasn't happened yet. And to your point, it's nice to see these inventory levels up a little bit. That means that folks are going to have more options to choose from. And for those folks that don't own a home right now and are waiting, I would point out to you that in the last 5 years, according to Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, the average homeowner's wealth over the last 5 years has gone up by just under $141,000. So don't get left out. This is a great time to buy. There are options for you, and Mark and his team can definitely take care of you there. We are, of course, watching to see what impact we may see the trade deals that happened with Japan, the Philippines, and Indonesia yesterday, whether those might get the stock market rolling to the detriment of bonds, which would be a negative for mortgage rates. And we're also hearing that Taiwan and the European Union are presenting trade proposals in the coming days that could be very helpful for the economy, which isn't always helpful for mortgage rates. So there's an opportunity here, folks. Get out there in the market and get with Mark and his team and buy a home while the inventory is great and you can get some seller concessions.
yep. Yeah. So like you said, the market's moving along, chugging along. Yeah, if we can help you out in any way, shape, or form, get together with a coaching session as far as buyer. That's what we love to do is get involved with what's going on in your daily lives and see how we can plan to get home ownership part of that, or even moving up or even downsizing in that side of it. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. My number's down here, 672-7670. Russ at 290-8936. And we look forward to hear from you guys. And like I said, any questions, reach out to us. Happy to help.